Hey everybody, Ben here. Thanks for clicking on the video. Thanks for showing up for yourself each and every day. I'll connect here and we'll see what comes through. I'm in seeing like a cave with a lot of those stalactites, I think they are. There's bats. It's cold, it's damp, but the stalactites are like glowing certain places in the veins of the outcrop, the growth. There is It's like this green goo. I getting like the emerald tablets for some reason, like the confirmation. It's there's that energy source, the glowing for healing. You can create it on your own through transmuting. Okay, it's referencing the idea of uh, I think shadow work, going into these creepy dark spaces where we wouldn't want to go. You know, what is down there? How do we actually transmute energy? How do we utilize pain for purpose, or power came through our own power? How do we do that? How do we really do that? Going, excuse me, when we really think of a wound and we think of, what it is, let's just come up with one here. Someone said, I looked funny because I dressed a certain way. Or I had hand-me-down clothes. I didn't have the newest style clothes. How would that make you feel? Obviously, that would depend on where we're at in life. I guess we'll use it as way back in school. Maybe this happened. And ever since then, we were very concerned of how we looked or how we dressed. We strived then to buy all designer clothes, to make ourselves look proper because someone had an opinion. And if we really dissect that, let's just say at that time you were glowing, you were happy, you were joyful, you were in your own energy, you were feeling great, you were having fun. Maybe you were out playing at the playground at the time, and this person came up and wanted to knock you down because they weren't having fun, they weren't joyful, and you were. So how do we do that? We knock you down. Now, throughout life, we have a closet, we have several closets full of all these fancy clothes, and we still don't feel fucking good enough. No matter what we wear, no matter how much money we spend. And we forgot about that time that other individual knocked us down. Now, that was one experience that has totally molded and changed our life. Obviously, this is just an analogy. Now let's look at every experience throughout our life that someone said something that hurt our feelings, and we may have allowed the external to uh, mold us, to create us in a certain way that is not authentic because we weren't good enough to someone else. now we can see who the fuck are we now if we allowed all these things to mold us or to create us into something that we're not, to please the external that rejected us in the first place. There's a lot of shit in that cave, I'm sure, if we really think about it. Now, granted, we probably don't remember everything, but once we start uncovering and digging a bit, we begin to see and more things open up. And then we can see a little bit deeper rooted things. And how can we heal that? It's rebuilding. It's rebuilding. And it also kind of comes to a place that we might not know who we are at a stage because we are ripping and tearing and rebuilding so much. Got the Spirit card. It is upside down. Normally, I call this connection with Spirit, but also everything in sync, all of our chakras. And if we really think of it, maybe that's something you're into or working on. Sometimes we can feel them when they are a little out of balance, and we can look in there. Maybe we have an issue with our throat. Maybe we were suppressed a lot or made fun of for what we said or thought, and we shared that. And, now we don't share anything. Maybe we get on the bandwagon and just say what everybody else is saying to fit in, to be accepted. We'll also look at our lower chakras and our creativity, and let alone self-esteem in general. Are we truly creating our self-esteem in our external? I talk about this a lot, that obviously the way we present ourselves to the world, are we presenting ourselves to the world in a way that we are seeking the external to validate us and to praise us as coming in a way, to accept us? And do we have to dress a certain way to be accepted? Do we have to say certain things to be accepted? If not, we would be ridiculed. We would be rejected. Now, granted, being in reverse, this can also be just, are we missing our connection with Spirit? Do we need to recultivate that? Is that going to be our one person rooting for us along our way through this path of healing? It is mostly, I don't know everyone's situation. I don't know what they experience. Most people on a spiritual path that is going to be the only person rooting on your side. It's the person that's going to support you and talk to you through these transitions, because the majority of people in our external helped mold us to something that we're not. And when we're changing or coming into our fuller self, that's going to be rejected. They're not going to be supportive. They're not going to be rooting for you to succeed, to win, to heal, to come into your power, your confidence again. What else do we have here, Spirit? I'm just so focused on the organs of this card. It's really pushing towards the heart. The Empress, nurturing soul, nurturing ourselves, pulling back all of our efforts and our energy to please the external. And I don't mean just physically, but presenting ourselves in a way to please. That is a really strong word in this message of pleasing the external. Why? Why are we doing that? This may be helping you to see why, to see the wound. What is it that we're pleasing for? Is it acceptance? Is it reassurance? Is it compliments? Is it to keep the peace? So many different options. Obviously, it's different for everyone. But going back, pulling this need to please the external for whatever it is, put that into you. We're going to nurture ourselves. We're going to rebuild ourselves. We're going to love ourselves. We're going to create this space in ourselves that we don't need the external to do anymore. We do that through here, and by going into the cave, seeing why. Why are we pleasing? What are we pleasing for? What is the motive? And it's not in a bad way. It is, what are we seeking? What comes back? Okay, let's do that inside instead. And then the external, we don't need that anymore to fill that void. What else do we have here, Spirit? Broke. I'm hearing broke, but like broken. The Magician reversed. Trickery. Just going back to broken, you're not broken. That is our mind saying things. When we allow our troubles or our worries, our insecurities to control us, naturally, it's not really good motivation. Of course, how could it be when these negative self-talk really take control and knock us down more than anybody else probably could. Sure, somebody could say something hurtful, but when we take that and we look in the mirror or we look at other people's accomplishments, we do this comparison, we can really get on this self-destructive path. And these thoughts it's a trick, it is an illusion. And when we identify with it, we become it. So really focusing on what is it that we want. And I know when I say that, it really spreads out to the external. We got to get away from that. We got to pull back in here. What matters most, what's coming to mind now is, if I could change a timeline, I've said this before, if I could jump a different timeline, what would I want on the other end of it? And it can be material or it can be something internal. A lot of people, first thing they're going to go with is a lot of money for a fancy house and a car, and so I don't have to work. But you bring all that shit, all that emotion with you, all that hurt with you. It doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter. I'll have a fancy car so I can get good looking people to be in relationships with. Well, all that drama, all that trouble that we're carrying through is still going to be there. Wouldn't you want to have healed all these wounds inside and a strong foundation inside that no matter what happens on the other side, you can get through it, you can handle it, you can feel confident in yourself, you can have that self-esteem? I think you want that. I think everybody does. And with that, you can create anything. Closing card here, Spirit. Ten of Wands. Overcommitment. On the other side, we see released burdens. That's where we need to get to. I'm going back to this overcommitted to pleasing something, pleasing the external. We are so committed on this acceptance of some type to be accepted. And like going back to the very beginning when I was talking about the clothes, not this is just an analogy, but we buy all these things to present us a certain way, and no matter what we do, even if we had an unlimited amount of money to present ourselves a certain way to the world, we're still going to feel whatever it is that for whatever reason we feel unaccepted, we're still going to feel that because we don't feel it inside. So we're constantly trying to create this in the external, and it's not going to work. It never will work. We need to do it in here. And when we do it in here, it reflects in the external. It's not that people are rejecting us, it is that we are rejecting ourselves. We are not accepting ourselves. And until we cultivate that again, we nurture that, will we see the reflection or the outcome that we desire. I wish you the best with this. If you need someone to talk to, I'm happy to help you. If this resonated, feel free to like, comment, share, or subscribe, and I will talk to you all later.